many of you are responding to the work that we're doing here. And I'm really proud and happy to see that you are enjoying this work. As of today, we have 220 subscribers, which is fantastic. I really hope to see this community grow. So thank you very much for checking in every week and listening to these stories. It makes me feel really good to know that you are enjoying this. Tonight we will continue the story of the last speech, and know that I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you. Out in the forest the orange tree grows, way in the back nobody knows. The fruit it grows is magical indeed. Just one bite will put you to sleep. Welcome back. This is an Orange Tree video production called Bedtime Stories with Jared. Here you will hear stories read in a whisper to induce relaxation, sleep, and ASMR tingles. Please make sure that your headphones are plugged in and over each ear before you begin. Let's get started. Chapter 18, a 14-story perspective. From Eugenia's hotel room on the 14th floor of the Marriott Convention Center, the world looked so small. Eugenia looked out over the horizon, over the car park, over the tiny people living their tiny lives. Do you know why I get the big rooms on the top floors, Martha? Eugenia invites Martha to the window with her tone. Martha walks to the window and looks outward. Eugenia can see that Martha does not get to see the world like this, ever. Martin pours himself a drink and gets comfortable on the couch. Eugenia can feel his eyes on her, judging her performance, on how she handles her first disruption at a hosted event. Did you know, Martha, that if you go to New York City right now, that you will find loose bricks all over the city? Eugenia looks at Martha for a flinch or a sign that the question has registered. That man, sitting right there behind you. Eugenia watches as Martha's head slowly turns to gander at Martin on the couch. It's hard to believe, but he was homeless just a few years ago, and one of those bricks was a hideaway for his hopes and dreams. So he used them as best he could. Inside or behind each brick, he put $5 to $10 that he could gather each day. Eugenia waits to let the idea set in. Now he sits here with us, drinking a fine scotch, without a care in the world. Eugenia lets Martha watch, and then redirects her. You know, I was a waitress just 4 years ago myself. That's when I met Martin. I was working at a truck stop diner called O'Leary's. Martha shakes her head and chuckles. I hated that place. There wasn't an Irish person within 400 miles of that God-forsaken place. But the owner calls it O'Leary's. I think the owner was a Turk. Whatever he was an asshole and an idiot. Eugenia feels like she is rambling. She takes a couple of steps away from Martha and looks out over the horizon. Martha, what were you planning on doing with the gun? The silence is deafening. Eugenia imagines the look on Martha's face. She imagines her mouth gaping open. Oh, how could she know, she imagines. Eugenia laughs at how easy it is to read people. Martin has taught her so much. In a moment, she would turn around to see if she was right. Martha, what were you planning on doing with the gun in your purse? Eugenia turns to face Martha, and there she stands with her mouth wide open. Martha's eyes are wet. Her voice is shaky and breathy. How? Martha steels herself a bit. How did you know about the gun? Martha, Martin told me. Eugenia walked a little closer. Martin told me that you were a Republican. It's a code word that we use for people like you who are carrying guns. People who look like they have a reason to use them. Who is the gun for? Eugenia watches as Martha weighs the decision. Do I tell her? What's going to happen to me if I do tell? What will happen to me? Am I going to jail? Why am I being punished? And why does Burton get to live? When I met Martin, he used the same word to describe me, Eugenia says. I wanted to kill my husband too. Eugenia lets this thought settle before she turns to get herself a drink. She sets 2 glasses on the tray. She moves the crystal decanter from the rack to the table. She adjusts it just so. She twists the cork and lets the aroma of the liquor rise to meet her nose before she pours herself and her guest a glass. I wanted him dead, Eugenia said. I was working 2 jobs, both at minimum wage. I was almost ready to burst, and he just didn't care. Martin cared. Martin saved me from all of that. Eugenia read it all over Martha's face. She was still a little confused about what it is that Eugenia exactly had to do for Martin in order to get this life. Who's the gun for, Martha? Eugenia continues. Eugenia invites Martha to have a seat and hands her a crystal glass with ice and a little liquid courage. Martha takes her seat and sips from the glass. She winces, and she tries to take another, but smaller, sip. Martha says, "It was my husband, Burton. I was here to stop him from ruining us. I was here to save..." Martha breaks down. The tears turn into wails, and her floodgates open. Martin moves to sit next to Martha, and he places his hand gently on her shoulder. "Let it out," he says gently. "You're in a safe place. You're going to be okay. Let it out." "I just cannot take it anymore," Martha says. "He tried to spend $20,000 again just this weekend. He's going to ruin us." Martin continues to comfort her as he asks, "Martha, how much money has Burton spent?" Martha starts adding up the numbers. She lists the $25,000 that he paid for the introductory program that he got in order to get the whole thing started. 2 months later, he spent $15,000. Then there was the $75,000 that he paid for the real estate course. All of it is on credit, not including the $20,000 that he just spent. I think he's racked up around $150,000 in debt, she says, at least so far. And he always says that it costs money to make money and that we have to pay $75,000 to make $1 million. But when does it stop? When do we make our money back? Martin asks, how long has he been spending money on these types of programs? Martha does not hesitate. For 4 years. The number is burned into her brain, like it has been ticking away and eating at her all this time. Martin is calm and slow with his words. I knew a motorcycle salesman once, and he told me that you have 3 years to sell a customer everything that you will ever sell them. Because in 3 years, they will discover one of two things. Either they will discover that they love riding, and if they do, then they're lifetime customers. They'll never go away. But more often, they discover the other thing. More often, they discover that they hate motorcycles. They're in it for a rush, but it's not really for them. The reason that I say this is that these programs are kind of the same way. I'm sorry to say that if your husband did not make back his initial investment in the first 2 years, and he did not make back his initial investment or his additional investments in the last 2 years, well, he's probably never going to make the money back at all. Your husband is clearly missing an important step in the process, and I can't say for sure what it is. It might be the work ethic that drives people to get up at 5 a.m. every day to make this work. It might be the understanding of how the system works, which allows people to be successful. Whatever it is that is missing, your husband is missing it. Martha lets the words register, and she nods. Eugenia sits on the other side of Martha. Martha, have you ever considered that you might need to cut off the cancer in your life? There is a way that you can be free of all the future debts that your husband might assume, and also avoid the jail time that comes from, well, your original plan. Martha looks toward Eugenia. Eugenia says, Martha, have you considered the possibility of divorce? I have very good lawyers. Chapter 19 is called Second Chances. The day that Burton married Martha was sunny and glorious. Burton remembers how excited he was when he woke in the hotel room that morning. His groomsmen decorated the floor of the hotel room. They all drank way too much. Burton, on the other hand, went to bed early. He drank lots of water. He wanted the eve of his wedding to be over so that the day of his wedding could finally begin. He was so excited about his nuptials to Martha Washington that he woke at 4:30 a.m. It was the first and last time that he would ever be up that early for anything. It was easy that day to get up before the sun, because the idea of Martha excited him like nothing in life ever could. The idea of Martha still excites him. Martha was and is Burton's life. Her happiness is everything to him, and she is the only reason that he has found a spark for ambition. When Martha wanted a new car, Burton got a second job. When Martha wanted to go on vacation, Burton found a way to put the trip on a credit card. When Martha wanted a big Christmas, Burton sold his favorite guitar to make sure that he had money to put lots of great gifts under the tree for Martha. And when he sat in that very first seminar, when they asked him for his why, Martha was then and is now his why. Burton wants Martha to have the life that others only dream about. All he wants is to give her the world, and other people keep standing in his way. Burton started Sunday morning by skipping the morning conferences. He woke up at 8:30, which is a good start for Burton. Burton started Sunday morning by skipping the morning conferences. He woke up at 8:30, which is a good start for Burton. He went to church, and that was a little uncomfortable. Burton hasn't been to church in over 10 years, but sometimes prayer is necessary. After church, he continued his prayers at the hotel bar over a run of Miller Lite beers from the tap. Each beer brought him some more clarity. The fact of the matter is that Burton has gone astray. He knows it, and he is ready to change. What was he thinking? Time after time, he dumps money into these training programs. But when has a training program ever paid off? Burton thinks about all the people on the stage. They have made millions. But how many thousands of people have paid them to learn these lessons? We never see how many people pay for success and fail. I bet the numbers are astronomical. Burton drinks his beer. If I go home and focus on working my regular job, and I do really well, I can maybe get that promotion that I wanted 4 years ago. I can pay down the debt. We can regain control of our finances, of our lives. We can make it work, just Martha and me. The bartender brings Burton another glass. Maybe we won't have millions in the bank, but we will have happiness. Isn't happiness worth more than money? I think it is. Burton does not know if it was the early breakfast at 9 a.m., the sermon, or the praying over beers, but he feels something that he has not felt for a long time. He feels awake, and he feels empowered. When he goes back to his room, he picks up his phone to call Martha. He has one missed call and a voicemail. "Let's meet for dinner," Martha says. "I'm at the conference center. I want to talk. Meet me at 6:30 p.m. in the hotel restaurant. I'll have a table there for us." Burton jumps for joy. I cannot believe that she is here. This is so wonderful. I need to tell her everything. I have so much to tell her. I must apologize for all that I have done, everything that I have put her through. I need to let her know that it is all going to be okay. Burton pulls out a button-down shirt from his suitcase. He unravels the iron and looks for instructions. He plugs it in and does his best to make his shirt look like it is pressed properly. He pulls out the only tie that he owns. It is green, with yellow dollar bill signs all over it. It has a hint of red in it towards the base, where ketchup stained the tie. He tries his best to wash out the stain that set years ago, But some stains just won't wash out. He fixes his hair in the mirror. Burton may not look perfect, but tonight he certainly looks his best. Tonight he will make things right again. Burton looked his best, but he should have possibly taken a moment to ask himself a very important question. Why did his wife drive 7 hours to see him? Martha was waiting at the table already. She looked bored. She looked aggravated. She did look slightly inebriated also. She didn't look like she would be excited to see her husband. Burton snuck over to the bar to get a cocktail, just to turn her mood around. Tonight's going to be a great night. With drinks in hand, Burton makes his way to the table. "Hi, sweetie," Burton says. He places the drink down and leans in for a kiss, but he is taken off guard when she pulls away. "Hello, Burton." Martha sounds cold and distant. Burton takes his seat. He is determined to remain positive. "I've been doing a lot of thinking today." "So have I, Burton." "You have? I want to hear all about it, but let me say something first." "Burton," Martha interrupts. "I'm done." "What?" Burton can feel his heart implode into his chest. "Sweetie, what do you mean?" "I'm done, Burton. I can't do this anymore." Martha had no tears left. She was cold. She was resolute. "Martha, I came to tell you that I've changed." "Cut the shit, Burton." Martha rolls her eyes and gives Burton a hard stare. "I got the declined credit cards transaction." "Martha, I'm done with all of that." "Burton, listen to yourself. An alcoholic can't claim to be off the sauce just because the last bottle is empty. As soon as you get another credit card, you're going to fill it." Martha slams her hand down on the table, and Burton notices for the first time that she came prepared. "What is that?" Burton is scared. Perhaps for the first time in his life he is actually scared. "What is that, Martha?" "I made some friends today. My new friends had some lawyers with them, and they helped me prepare these papers." Martha looked at the paperwork that lay between them, and she pushed it slowly towards Burton so that he could have a better look. "Believe me, it is a lot better than the alternative plan." "Burton, I'm going to use the ladies' room. Sign the papers before I get back." Martha excused herself from the table. Her purse remains on the chair. Burton could not see straight to read the papers in front of him. The words were fuzzy. He looked up towards the restroom and saw Martha walking away from him. There was nothing that he could do to stop this, was there? It was then that he saw her purse and the handle of a very familiar gun. Burton knows who is to blame for this. He knows who is to blame for all of it, and now he has the tools to fix it.